India is investing more money in solar power than coal for the first time.
Here's a summary of the article.
A whopping 74% of India's electricity generation comes from coal-fired power plants, and coal use in the country continues to increase, but we may be seeing the beginning of the end of coal's reign as renewable energy investments have begun to outpace those in fossil fuels. According to the International Energy Agency, India's move towards spending on renewables has been driven both by policy and by the rapidly falling costs of bringing solar power online. For the past 3 years in a row, India has seen greater total investments in renewables than in fossil fuels, the report shows, while spending on solar energy overtook spending on coal-fired power generation for the first time in 2018. Energy demands in the country still remain comparatively small. Each person in India uses a tenth that of a US citizen, but that is changing fast with people increasingly consuming larger amounts of energy. India's new coal power generation has dropped from roughly 20 gigawatts of additional capacity being added each year to less than 10 gigawatts added in each of the last 3 years. Samir Quatra, a climate change and energy policy analyst with the Natural Resources Defense Council, told Inside Climate News. Despite the apparent progress, the International Energy Agency has warned much more investment in renewables across the world is required to prevent more than 1.5 C of average global warming as set out under the terms of the Paris Climate Agreement. But the bottom line is that the world is not investing enough in traditional elements of supply to maintain today's consumption patterns, nor is it investing enough in cleaner energy technologies to change course. Whichever way you look, we are storing up risks for the future.
This post received a score of 5,892, with an upvote ratio of 96%. Here are the top comments in response to this article.
There is a realization that renewables are quicker, cleaner, cheaper and also strategically in India's interest because of energy security. It just makes financial sense to invest in renewables.
India is going to blow past the US in a couple years. Everybody's going to blow past the US as long as our government is run by fossil fuel interests.
Let's be realistic. The smart money in the US has money in both. They are just exploiting fossil fuels as much as possible to extract all of the money they can before they are forced to shift.
Shell aims to lead big oil in pivot to clean energy.
Shell, BP and other oil companies have been talking about moving to renewables for decades. Believe it when you actually see them move out of oil rather than when they spend chump change on token projects.
As soon as renewables can be commoditized properly, they will be all over it.
Good job, India.
India making some very modern moves of late. This country is really embracing the 21st century. Going to be interesting to see where they're at in another 50 years.
In the US, there is still debate as to whether an election day is to be declared a holiday. In India, there will be riots in the street if election day is not given a holiday. Even better, it's a paid holiday, for everybody. Even private firms have to comply.
Energy investments now face unprecedented uncertainties, with shifts in markets, policies and technologies, said Dr. Fatih Birol, the IEA's executive director.
This would have happened a few years ago if America didn't CCK block them from building solar power.
America, China etc. all have large amounts of oil available locally. This makes India very vulnerable and dependent on foreign imports to keep its economy running. Oil import is one of the biggest imports when it comes to Indian economy. As soon as the oil prices rise, fiscal deficit gets fucked. More money spent in purchasing oil means lesser budget for infrastructure, social security, defense, etc.
The post was about coal, not oil.
Good news and well done. I've heard from the NASA report that India is the few countries that lead the greening of the Earth.
I guess their current administration led by Modi isn't all that bad.
Science and technology is not the problem, unlike the USA. It's communal hatred.
Communal hatred is a reality. I don't like religious Muslims. It's not something BJP is teaching me.
I agree with you, but I would also go a bit further and say I don't like religious fanatics, and I don't think BJP is a fanatically religious party.
This video was automatically created by Reddit to Speech. The article and comments in this video were selected from Reddit according to their upvotes, and any paraphrasing was performed by smmry.com, without any human intervention.